Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Trainz Railroad Simulator, Trainz 2022. And it's a new year. It is 2025. We all made it another year, hopefully. So happy New Year's to those that are tuning in on New Year's Day. We've gotten some pretty slick content in the last week or so, and on top of that, I started a job, so I haven't been able to dive into all the content yet. I've been busy working the last couple days, but I'm gonna play catch up today because I'm off today. So starting with one of the cooler of the lot, I think. It's the GILA Railway. GILA, I'm going to assume it's GILA. It's spelled GILA. So, recently released by NARM. This is a payware route. And it's pretty neat, kind of different. Anybody that knows me knows that usually I do not like desert stuff. I spent my entire Air Force career out in the middle of freaking nowhere desert. I don't see the appeal to deserts, but some people do. And to be perfectly honest, when it comes to train games, I don't mind them. You know, I'm not the one stuck outside in the 100-degree weather. Don't you think about it, cat. Your mommy will beat the snot out of you. Anywho, as the cat tries to get up on my counter. But yeah, so it's kind of a desert railroad. It's a short line railroad, so we do have a large, nice mainline exchange area over here with a nice setup. If you're good at setting up the portals, you can have freight trains running back and forth, running, interchange and whatnot. But big mainline railroading is not the focus of this map. It is a short line. It is mostly things like road switching, which is kind of neat. I mean, it's been a while since I saw a route that was really focused on road switching as a whole. Normally it's mainline period or switching period. This one kind of cuts through that cookie cutter a little bit. It's kind of nice. I think it's cool. I haven't had the opportunity to run on it yet. I only just picked this up last night. Literally before I went to bed, it was going through all the downloads and whatnot and getting set up and whatnot. But my wife was at home. I spend time with my wife when she's not at work. I'm not at work, so I wasn't playing train games. I just let this run through all the downloads and whatnot, and I figured I'd get to it today, and I am. So it'll be the first time I've run on it. I did get a chance to kind of fly around the map a little bit and take a look at some things. I didn't get a chance to really dive into it, really get a good look at it. But I did get a chance to just kind of check things out a little bit. So, and so far, I think it's pretty cool for, what it is, for my quick look around. We'll sit here for a second and watch the Amtrak cruise through here. So right off the bat, one of the cool things that you'll notice, it does have functioning, I took a brain dump for a second. It does have functioning railroad crossings. And it's got automatic horn points, which are awesome. I don't have to set up automatic horn points. It's such an odd sight for me personally to see anybody set up proper auto horn points that aren't the jointed rail, bidirectional auto horn things or whatever that blow one single time. And yeah, so that's pretty nice. I kind of like that right off the bat. And then of course the functioning crossings, big fan of that. I'm going to do something a little bit weird, and I'm going to look at the rolling stock first. largely because I couldn't tell you what all it came with it. Once again, it's another case of a company not giving a README or a manual to show what's included with the root, what's what. There is a map, cool, and a switch list, cool, but that does not tell you what is included with the root as a whole, like what is included in the pack. So, to the best of my knowledge, you're getting 4 locomotives. That's and a boxcar, I think. That's it. I don't know what else. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at rolling stock first because I'm down here and we have the opportunity to do so before I start cruising on up the road. But right off the bat, you're going to get the 2 larger locomotives, the C430s. Now, keep in mind, none of the locomotives are dynamically numbered. They are all individually numbered. Is and isn't sad. I mean, again, it is a short line railroad, so chances are they only own, you know, in real life, a short line railroad typically only owns a small handful of locomotives. They're not owning some big fleet. So, you know, it's not really that heartbreaking, but you're going to get 2 locomotives. They are not dynamically numbered. You're going to get C6 or C430s, number 511 and 601. Pretty much the same locomotive. I think there's a little bit difference in the weathering, so that they do look a little bit different, but for the most part, the same thing. This one does carry a different horn set, so there are some things like that. This is the matched pair, per se. The set. Love the sound, though. I like it. Gurgling rumble. Very, very nice. I have no idea who the original producer of the models are. You can download these off of their website. I will pull up the website in a minute because they do have kind of a lure out the railroad as well. I'm going to assume these are jointed rail, maybe, possibly. Wouldn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest. So yeah. But there's the 2 matched pair. Pretty cool. The paint scheme is pretty cool, too. That fits the idea. Kitty cat, you all have a knack for being in the way. And then our other 2, which are over here. Once again, they're not dynamically numbered. I think I gotta. We're gonna get an RS11 and an RS18. Both low nose. It is entertaining how much these things sound like they're struggling to idle. Go ahead and pull those out. Cool side note, though, this gate does open and close as a locomotive approaches it, or train, or whatever. So that is fun to watch. Nice little bit of interaction. RS18 and RS11, obviously 2 different locomotives. Basic car body's the same on them, though. There's not a huge not a huge difference. I mean, I say that there are differences. I know somebody that's a big diesel nerd is gonna pop out of the woodwork. Oh my God, they're so different. They're not even kind of alike. If you don't know me by now, you know that steam locomotives are my cup of tea. I don't know jack all about diesel locomotives. Certainly don't know jack about modern railroading, which is definitely what this is geared towards. This is geared towards that like 1970s, 1980s era on up to today. I don't follow that era. It just has no appeal to me at all. So to a steam locomotive guy, these are very much, you know, built the same. I know there's weird things like this that are a little bit different, but you're gonna get these two. They are again dynamically numbered, so we got 426 and 219. I love it. I love it. I like to listen to them. I am a little bit of a mechanic, so it is kind of fun to just listen to mechanical things do their thing. Especially when it's something a little bit different. Alcos are not a common sight across railroads anymore. Credit where it's due. They are, you know, old locomotive brand. They have a very unique sound. It's fun to kind of sit here and listen to them. But once again, I'm gonna assume these are giant rail models, probably, most likely. Not dead certain. Not gonna say that they aren't. Just that's my guess. Those again seem to be kind of their level of quality. And they're pretty nice. Overall, the weathering's not on the over the top, just like the other ones. They look nicely detailed. They sound quite nice. They sound quite entertaining. So let's grab. Let's see if I can figure out. All right, so we're here. I believe this is RS11, maybe. So, we get the bell. Nice. I like the bell. Yeah, the horn sounds not half bad. I wish it was louder. I wish like the volume overall compared to the rest of the audio was louder on the horn, but not half bad. See what kind of details we get to play with on it. It is the RS11. Look at me. I can guess correctly. We get cab lights, walkway lights, class lights. Aw. We don't get the, what is this? Emergency. Yeah, we don't get this or this. Sad times. At least I don't think so. It's really just... So if we come over to the legacy display, we get windows, cab doors, front back steps, and wind deflectors. So bear in mind you do have to swap over to the legacy display to get all of your functions to play with. Still kind of surprising though. We don't get the beacon on top or the backup light, emergency light, wherever the red light is. Swap over here to the RS18 or 18. Yeah, I had a brain dump again. RS18, we got a bell. I like it. Nice sounding bell. Not half bad. I can live with it. Once again, it's kind of the same story though, where I kind of wish the horn audio was a little bit louder than it is, because it still seems kind of quiet compared to everything else. Enable editing. It's probably pretty much the same story. Cab lights, number board lights, class lights, windows, doors, steps, and window reflectors. So yeah, same story. So let's come back over to the C430s and see what they offer. Details. We get cab lights, number board lights, class lights, windows, doors, steps, and window reflectors. Probably the same story across the board for that, or the other C430 as well. So let's pull this one forward away from our train for a second so that I can show if they have two different horns, because I haven't even played with them. So. That seems to be probably going to be an issue with the other one too. It sounds like the horn audio is way quieter than everything else. It's not bad at distance though. Bell. Very nice, very nice. And let's swap. The other C430. Again, I can't hear the horn at all over the engine. It's not a half bad sounding horn. Same story. The audio is way quiet compared to the rest of the engine. Cool, it's got a different bell than the other one. Not half bad. Go ahead and hook back up to our train so that it's ready to go when we get ready in a minute. Not a fan of the exhaust. Look at the cotton balls. Now let's check out the route. So as I was saying earlier, it is very much geared towards road switching. So there's a ton of like industries here, there, and everywhere, which is awesome. If you're a road switching fan like I am, I love road switching. It's kind of that nice happy median where you have a yard, you have point A, point B, you have some kind of main line, like main line for a short line kind of operations, and you have industries to swap out. So like back here, here's our furthest industry, at least on one end of the line. Judging by all the trash trucks, we got a trash dump over here. I will say, I do wish that they had put more markers. So like these sidings over here, they're not marked at all. Only one of these sidings are marked. So I do wish that they had done more marker-wise. It's not a hard problem for me to fix. I can go in and resolve that issue. It's just kind of one of those quality of life things where it would have been better. You got kind of a steel beam industry over here. So plenty to do. There's one area of industry. We got another one over here. Now it does take a second for it to load. Bear that in mind if you're jumping around the map. As you can see, it does take a breather for it to load up its scenery and whatnot, because there's a ton of it. So it's pretty easy to tell. There's a lot going on. There are some weirdnesses here, there, and everywhere, like where the ground texture doesn't quite play well with everything else. As you can see here, we've got the road fighting with the median, the ground fighting with the road, ground fighting with the road. There's a lot of weirdness like that here, there, and everywhere all over the route that is really noticeable. It might be a dumb setting that I'm missing in Trainz, though. That might not necessarily be in our NARM's fault. So do bear that in mind. But as I was saying earlier, there's a ton of detail. For it to be a desert route, I really do not need you up here, kitty cat. But for it to be a desert route, there's a lot going on. It is nicely filled in. Got all of the desert style vegetation, I guess you could call it that. Burned grass. See, here's a weirdness where it looks like the track is floating. It has to be a setting that I'm missing somewhere, because it certainly didn't show a lot of this in their promotional video. I have no idea what this is. Walking track, maybe? Definitely a car park over here. Now, one thing I do notice is it's kind of lifeless. I mean, we've got these big parking lots, big industries and whatnot. And look, there ain't not one vehicle outside. Same story over here. Big parking lots, big buildings and whatnot. Not one vehicle. And then we come over here to places like this, and they're just kind of really loosely scattered. So that is first actual complaint from me, is route seems kind of lifeless. Now, they did get the roads nice. The roads are nice to see physically functional with the functioning crossing gates. That is really cool. Having the automobiles driving down the roads, really nice. That does help give a little bit of life to the route. But there's no characters. Really not many people parked. There's not a lot of here's probably the only industry I've seen so far. It's got a lot of people actually working at it, it looks like. And even then, there's no characters. There's no people, no animals, no animated anythings. So that is a little bit of a noticeable thing, in my opinion. It's kind of dead. We'll zoom back out again. So as you can see, we've got a portal and a portal for a train to be able to, actually it's a whole runaround loop too, so you could have a kind of a big intermodal train or whatever running around here to make it look like this main line here is active. So that's pretty cool. And then once again, more industries over here. What they are, again, I'm not dead certain, because again, they didn't mark them. Like here we got a paper industry. Cool. What's this? Scribner Spot 2. No idea. SWS1. Now this one I kind of guessed. This is the locomotive storage. So I assume that this would be for fueling tanks, because this looks like where a locomotive comes over to be refueled and serviced. And of course you'd have whatever the railroad needs over here. This is the one and only piece of rolling stock that I could pick out that I was like, okay, that definitely came with the route, because it's a GILA boxcar. So of course I placed that down. It's kind of a typical boxcar. It's got some grime and whatnot on it, but that fits in. Again though, no people. So let's oogie on boogie on out of here. We've been sitting here long enough, I think. Scenery wise, it is pretty cool. Okay, there is a road under there. It's just, see, here's another spot I was talking about. It's gotta be a setting for me, because boy does this look weird. And I know what this is. This is where PBR textures, there's two different PBR textures, and they're not playing nice with each other. That's why they're doing that. I figured that out with some of my other root building things. I don't know how to fix that. It's, again, it's without a doubt a setting, but it's definitely frustrating. So Oogie and Boogieing. It is, for the most part, a single track mainline, the best I could tell across most of it. So if you're setting up scenarios and whatnot, you do have to plan accordingly. But out here we've got what looks like maybe an old grain industry. Kind of entertaining, way out here in the desert. Not to say that you don't see it. It's just kind of funny. But run around siding here, and we keep on boogieing. Again, the level of detail is really, really nice. There's a lot going on. So look, we got a whole four-wheeler thing going on over here, and there ain't not one character. Are you telling me that they're gonna park their cars out here and park their four-wheelers? And then leave? Poof. So I wish they'd done more with some people. Maybe some wild animals here, there, and everywhere out here. Boy, if this doesn't look like northern Arizona going into Utah. That northeastern side of the Grand Canyon where you're going around, it's just dirt, sand everywhere. But we got this here, which looks like it used to be more of an extension. It's not really a industry, but it does have a functional Y. And then the track continues this way. This is not part of it anymore, and stops here. Kinda cool. Still got these old abandoned wigwags. Love it. Just kinda goes off. So that's neat. We got some abandoned ware here, there, and everywhere. I like it. And we'll keep on boogieing. We gotta wait for my computer to catch up. Like I said, it definitely takes a second. If you're not running a train, it will take you a second to load everything as you boogie along, because there's a lot going on. They really put in a lot of effort with the scenery detailing and whatnot. Boy, if only we could get something like this for Train Sim Classic. If root developers for TSC, like the payware root developers, put in a fraction of this work for TSC, TSC would look so much better. It ain't even funny, but they don't. Trainz is cruising along in the modern era, while TSC still looks like it was built 20 years ago. Now these bridges are fun. There's a bunch of these along the route. I noticed those last night. I love them. You'll get a bunch of these like little creek-style bridges for when it rains out here in the desert. It flash floods pretty quick, so there's nowhere for the water to go. It just kind of builds up, runs downhill. So this creek would fill up real quick whenever it was raining. So you got this nice, small wooden bridge, and it's done up really nice. Bridge abutments, something that a lot of developers tend to forget are proper. They tend to forget that you're supposed to put these here. You know, small details like that I really like. Their bridges look pretty darn good. I like to play around with my settings because it's kind of frustrating how weird things look. A lot of nice scenes like this all along the route where it kind of follows a cliff edge. It can give you some really fun photo opportunities. But and with such scenery, you're kind of looking at Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona kind of region. So you can get away with a lot of maybe BNSF, Union Pacific, Amtrak. If you want to backdate a little bit, Southern Pacific, Denver and Rio Grande Western would absolutely look at home along this route. It's kind of a fun spot right here. I can produce some really neat pictures. There's a ton of fun scenes like that all over this route. They did a really good job, I think. And the coloring looks really good. Looks like a desert. And here's a spot that looks kind of funky. No, maybe I lied. It's just taking my computer a second to catch up. I was gonna say that looks really square. Nah, that looks better. Talk about having to wait for this computer to catch up and then forgets it. Now I'm sure somebody's gonna ask as soon as this video comes out. Coal Country 2. You forgot Coal Country 2. You didn't do Coal Country 2. No, I'm gonna do it. I know it. I do have it. I just kind of didn't want to be on the bandwagon of it right yet. Facebook and Discord have literally been nothing but Coal Country 2. And it's a great route, don't get me wrong. They did an awesome job on it. But there's only so much I can take of it. Like I said, as far as social media goes, literally everybody is focused on it. So I was like, you know what? Let's look at something that isn't quite getting the fanfare that I think deserves the fanfare. Again, vastly different, but still really good. Again, they put in a lot of effort in this. So I think it definitely deserves just as much attention. Okay, come on. There we go. Yeah, now we're coming up on that Grand Canyon-esque look. And I'm telling you, it just looks like some scenes that I've seen before driving out there. My wife is from southern Utah, so we have made that drive a couple times, and this kind of scenery is definitely not unheard of. You know, it's pretty in its own right. It's kind of one of those things where it's fun to see. Definitely not someplace I'd live. Especially there in July, buddy. It is toasty in July. I say that like Texas isn't 3-digit figures all of July, but at least it's not sand. Not where I'm from, anyway. Now we've gone through our little canyon-esque run, and now we're coming up on one of our first big industries along the route. So it looks like a cement plant. So we got a cement loading back here. Now, what this is, I have no idea. I assume it's probably something more akin to like an abandoned track, judging by the fact that it's got a derail there, it's got a derail sign, and then there's a scale, I think is what this is, the scale back here, but there's really nothing else. So I don't know what this would be back here, and again, they didn't mark it. It's another, you definitely call it a complaint. Again, it's not something that I can't do myself, but I'm entirely guessing as to what something is supposed to be if I have to go through and place all of the track markers. That's just kind of frustrating. Do have a runaround siding, kind of a storage track and whatnot. A couple places for storage, really. Spot here could also be used because it does have this runaround set here. So, industry. Same story again. No people, no characters, no animations. That's a little bit of a letdown. The actual level of detail for the industry itself looks pretty good. Not gonna act like I know what's supposed to be at a cement plant. But I do feel like I'd see some people running around and whatnot. So overall, you know, pretty neat. Looks like it goes up to the actual dig pig way back here. Which is pretty cool, you know, it's very loosely modeled, but it's modeled enough so that from the tracks it looks like something. So that's pretty cool. I do like that. And then we're back out on our little main. Now we wait for the computer to catch up. Bear in mind, my machine is also dated now. It is a few years old, so a lot of you that are watching my videos probably have a computer that's newer than mine, probably faster, probably more up to date, so you might not have this issue of loading like I am. Again, my computer is just very much old. It's not like running a 9060 old, or running a 960 old. I have a, when did I build it? It was my last year in the Air Force, it's 2020. It's 5 years old now. Huh. It's not like trashed old, but it's definitely old by computer standards. We come up to our first like town along the line. And again, unmarked industry back here. See, I realize it's not attached to the main here, but it still would be nice if it was marked. Just kind of like abandoned, I don't know, gravel loader or something. Just, you know, it kind of helps with maybe the lore. It just kind of gives you an idea of what it should be or shouldn't be. Looks like a track may have gone off that direction at one point in time in history. The way it just kind of gets buried under the sand here. So that's kind of cool. But it is not a functioning industry for the rail line as it's set up right now. The ambient's alright. You know, we got the dog barking. It would be nice to have some other ambient like along the route. Kind of like wind noises and whatnot. Fun little town area. It's just a town area. There's nothing really going on with it as far as the railroad itself is concerned. But it is a fun area. Just kind of breaks up the scenery for a minute. Yeah, my computer is being slow. We'll give it a second. We'll zoom in here and let it kind of take its time loading while we cruise along. Yeah, it's catching up. Looks like an old riverbed down here. So it's kind of following a riverbed. It's kind of cool. Coming up on another town, we got one of the larger yards. And a Y for turning the train around, turning the locomotives around, I'd say. We got storage track, runaround tracks, another kind of small town. And then it cruises back into the canyon again. Once again, my computer's being slow. But we cruise back here into the canyon and into the nothingness. And that is the end-to-end line. For the recently released GILA Railroad by NARM. So let's go ahead and pull up the website here so that we can see. So here's the kind of the route layout. Whiskey Town. Ah, gosh, it'd be nice if it would just stay. Well, I guess I could just do that, yeah. Varga, Sawyer Inn, Sawyer S, Bosch, Whiskey Town, Falm as an ending mark. Storage, yards. To kind of give you an idea of what's what-ish. I still think it'd be nice if they would actually have marked all of the sidings instead. Because again, you're kind of guessing. I don't know what these acronyms all are. I don't know what they're for. I don't know what would be there, parked there. So, it's just my opinion, but that is the route layout. So it's a 19-mile short line railroad set in the fictional southwestern United States. Rosters a small group of eclectic, Alco diesels, and has two branches. The main branch extends from a locomotive shop at Sawyer to the end of GILA trackage, and an interchange with Falcon Mining at Whiskey Town. On the way are plenty of beautiful desert vistas, from deep canyons to massive cliffs and bridges. Must get permission from UP Dispatch, cross busy diamond north of Sawyer. From the other side, the line extends only 2 miles or so to the industrial district of Varga, where GILA services a steel fabricator, cold store warehouse, wire cable, gypsum plant, and a fertilizer distributor. The route has 16 bridges and 1 tunnel. Pretty neat. And then all the fun stuff, if you care to read it. Now, naturally, I'll put the link in the description, but this is available from North American Rail Manufacturing. So overall, it's a really good-looking route. Now, I do kind of wish that they had done some kind of industry down here, or maybe like finished out the Whiskey Town mining idea back here, instead of it just ending in a transfer yard. Transfer yard to transfer yard. It's just kind of meh. I like the industries along the way, though. I think, that gives some nice opportunity for road switching. I just, from here to here, there's really no reason to go this far if you're looking at interactive operations, because it just ends back here. So that's my thought on it. Do kind of wish that it had gone further back. Not heartbroken over it though. Again, I'm in it for the scenery a little bit, largely for the road switching abilities though. I like that. I think it's overall nicely set up. A lot of nice detail, a lot of nice scenery overall. My really two notable complaints are just the real lack of route markers and the lack of people. Like, honestly, just some people along the route would really make it feel a little more lively. So let's operate along the route a little bit here. We gotta wait on everything to catch up though, because set our track up so we can make it out. Let's go for a drive, shall we? I didn't even check, but yeah, I'm not really surprised. One of the things I noticed with diesels is they're really, really bad about not having a proper custom cab to the locomotive. It's more often than not one jointed rails. Nice cabs, you know, credit where it's due. The cab is nice, but it's very clearly not for an Alco. It's without a doubt one of their SD40, SD45, probably 40 though. Pretty sure this is their 40. Let's do this. And what do you know? We're not operating a C430 anymore. So this is kind of one of those irks. I don't really think it's necessarily on NARM. It's not really their fault per se. It's just kind of a thing as a whole. I'm not a fan of diesel cabs and trains. They just 9 times out of 10, they're just one of like 4 total that ever get used. And it's always been one of my biggest complaints with Trainz is great as a model railroad simulator, great if you like to operate on the outside of the cab, but if you ever want to operate in the cab, it gets boring really, really fast because you're picking from like one of 5 on the massive majority of content available. You're picking one of 5 different cabs. Almost all the steam locomotives in-game available use the same handful of cabs, and it's the exact same story with the diesel locomotives. Again, not really a complaint with NARM or the GILA Railroad per se. That's more just a complaint for Trainz as a whole. Complete lack of custom cabs. We're only really just seeing proper custom cabs done up for steam locomotives. Between Trainz Forge and K&L Trainz, they're both really just starting to get into custom cabs in the last couple of years. Diesels, given how long jointed rail's been in the game, I kind of would have thought that their models would include custom cabs more often, but they don't. I love the crossings. The crossings are all quite well done. Now, it's very obviously not a speed demon route. 15 to 25 mile an hour seems to be the case for the majority of it. Which isn't surprising. I mean, again, it is a short line railroad. Short lines typically don't have high speed operations. But then again, there's not much reason for this stretch to be 25. So stuff like that where probably could be improved on a little bit. Is it horrible? No. Just my opinions. We'll get on over here for a minute. Get a nice run by. Now, a lot of the vegetation assets are kind of flat. But as long as you don't look at them at the weirdest angle, it's not really noticeable. I don't like these diesel locomotive exhaust and Trainz has never looked great. I can't point to really any that I've been like, wow, that was awesome. Nah. Now I just tossed down a mixed string because why not? So there's no rhyme or reason as to why any of these cars are put up in this setup. Merely just for operating. Like, see this out here? I feel like we could push it up to 30, 35. Which is exactly what we're going to do. They're stopping way far back from the crate. Definitely hard to find two new controls using the DCC controller. Come down here and enjoy another pass by. Yeah, I gotta play with my settings, 'cause I don't know why this looks so odd. Lots of opportunity for some neat screenshots, so if that's your thing, ton of opportunity for it. Now I think about it, these center beam cars don't make any sense at all out here, but oh well. Here they are. something I figured out that I can do as well is we can come over here and play with our environmental lighting and see what the route looks like at different times a day. That's something I've never thought about with doing any of my route review videos for Trainz in particular, is being able to just kind of check out the different times a day and see how the color changes and see how well a route developer did with their color changes. And truth be told, this looks pretty darn good. Like, here we are, what's this, 18? So here we are at 1800 hours. Sun's just on the horizon over there. Coloring looks awesome. The lighting looks awesome. Like, this looks like exactly out in the desert. Absolutely grabs that feel. So the choice of color palette I absolutely love. I think they did a great job. Let's drop it here. Boom. Sun's gone down, now it's dark. Now it's black. Midnight. Boy, that boxcar looks weird. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's not anything to do with the route. That's just, that's interesting. Our box got that glow in the dark. Right there at 06. Back here. Now let's enjoy this kind of early morning. Just why not? With our glow in the dark boxcar back here. It's something I never thought about at all. It's very rare that I operate in the deep dark anyway. It kind of destroys the point. Wow, playing in the dark, moving controls, not really seeing anything. But anyway, I think we've taken a look at just about anything or everything that this route has to offer. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it. But I love it. I think it's cool. I foresee myself enjoying this quite a lot in the near future. I recommend checking it out. It's $25 US. I think it's awesome. I think they did a really great job. Again, there's some places for improvement, I think. As always, there's always room for improvement, no matter what you do. So don't take that as like, not gonna get awful. No, they did a great job. It looks great. Feels great. Lots of great scenery. Lots of nice views. Coloring, again, everything great. Really only a couple of complaints. So definitely go check it out. I highly recommend it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.